Hey, we're here for the Waze Live seminar. We're going to give people a couple minutes to join, and then we're going to be right back and start the seminar up. All right, we're excited. We'll see you soon. Hey, again, we're going to wait a couple minutes just for everyone to join, make sure that everyone can come and join the Waze Live seminar, and then we'll begin momentarily. So we'll be right back. All right, hello, welcome to Waze Live. I'm Robert Burnton, one of your hosts, and this is...
I'm Justin Abosna. I am head of channel partnerships, and prematurely we apologize that Taylor is not on the line today. I know she was in the invite, but she is pursuing her civic duty of jury duty today, so she is at the courthouse. So we're filling it.
And I'm Robert Burnton, head of West for Waze Local. So we're excited that everyone decided to join us, and we're going to go ahead and share our screen and begin the seminar now. All right, let's do this. All right, the latest and greatest from Waze. What are we going to discuss today? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the latest Waze driver insights. We took a look at all the data from last year, found some fun insights as well as some meaningful insights that we're going to share with you today. Then we're going to talk about how we can help you drive success for you and your clients this upcoming year, and then talk a little bit more about how to best work with our Waze team, best practices. All right, so although probably most of you are familiar with the Waze app, I'm going to talk a little bit about Waze for those of you that are less familiar. Waze is the world's largest community-based navigation app with over 100 million active users. What does it mean to be community-based Waze navigation app? All right, well, for starters, we actually collect two forms of data. Most navigation platforms only collect passive data, meaning people who are driving are passing back data through their app to collect measurement of traffic. At Waze, what we actually do is we're collecting active form as well. So our users are very engaged, and they're always sending us traffic updates, construction updates. They're letting us know if there's a cop on the road, which is one of our more popular features, and anything that's going to have anything to do with affecting your commute. So we take all that data and we actually upload it into our algorithm, and we do everything we can to make your drive a lot more efficient. Additionally, we are a Google company. About 4 years ago, we were actually purchased by Google. And while we are still a separate app, we are owned by Google. Finally, our mission is to outsmart traffic together. It's our end goal. All right, Forbes Top 50 Brands. This is a report that comes out every year with the top brands in the world. And if you look at number 35, what does that say?
Waze.
Waze. So we were really excited when this came out in 2017. We feel a lot of love for our users, and clearly our users feel a lot of love for us. So we were very honored to be included in the top 50 brands by Forbes. All right, let's look a little bit into the insights. These insights are brought to you by AAA. So looking back at the past year, every driver or every person who's age 16 or plus, about 87.5% actually drove a car in the past year. Did you drive a car?
I did.
I drove a car, and we live in New York City. There's not a lot of driving going on between work and home. Also, drivers on average drove about 10.9 thousand miles. 10.9 thousand miles.
That's crazy.
To put that in context, the Earth's circumference is 24,900 miles. So people drove almost halfway around the world each year, last year. For that, people spent about more than 290 hours on the road this past year. When you break that down, that's about 7 40-hour work weeks spent in your car.
That's a lot of time to target people with some advertising.
A lot of time to target people. Hopefully you like your car. Also, just a side note, we will be taking questions. So this is very interactive. So at any point, if you have any questions for Justin or myself, just ask it and we'll get to it on our live stream. We actually are looking at questions over there. So at any point, just feel free to ask. All right, let's look at Waze specifically. So Waze drivers drove 6 billion miles per month last year, 6 billion miles. So put that in some context. The distance between the Earth and the Sun is 94 million miles. That means that every month, people were driving 64 times the total length between the Earth and the Sun. It's a lot of drivers, a lot of drive. All right, now getting into some of the fun insights. So looking back at last year, December, we're going to give you some fun stats on what happened last December. Looking at the drivers in December, at the end of December, we saw a 14% increase in those drivers that were going to fast food restaurants compared to the previous 4 weeks. Then, flash forward to New Year's resolution time, we saw a 33% lift in navigation to the gym in January as compared to December. Coincidence? I don't know. We'll let you guys decide. All right, this is more of the interactive one. Justin has not seen these stats yet, so I'm going to ask him a question and see if he can get it right. This one has to do with love, guilt, or obligation. Looking at the Waze drivers in France, USA, and Mexico this past Valentine's Day in 2017, who saw the most dramatic rise in trips to a flower shop?
Well, given Paris is the city of love, and my French counterparts are always very overly romantic, I'd have to say France of the three.
One would think so. However, it was actually the United States of America, the most increase in romance during the romance month of February. So looking at Tuesday of February 14th, we saw an increase of 580% as compared to an average Tuesday for people driving to a flower shop. In Mexico, we saw a 455% increase, and in France, we only saw a 199% increase.
Wow. That's probably because the French are romantic all year.
All year. That's true. That's probably true. Romantic is probably just a little bump on Valentine's Day. All right, now let's look at the special events. Do you remember the eclipse this summer?
I do.
You and I both went outside. We had about 70% coverage. Looked up, and it was still pretty sunny outside. Yeah. But in any case, how many more traffic jams did drivers experience this year during the eclipse as compared to a regular Monday?
100%.
100%. Try 886%. So on an average day of the year versus the eclipse, we saw an 886% spike in traffic jams of people trying to get to the eclipse. So one example is Louisville. Luckily for us, we don't have another eclipse coming for a couple years, so we're probably safe on that 886% spike. All right, now we can look into some of the year-long trends that we found. So when we measured the data, we looked on search. Restaurants, fast food joints, and supermarkets were among the top search categories for Waze drivers last year. And if looking specifically into the grocery vertical or supermarket vertical, do you know what 2 days saw the most increase in spike to navigations?
I mean, if I had to choose, I would say Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Exactly. Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas. On Thanksgiving, we actually saw a 63% spike. So that was the most spike we saw as compared to an average day. And on Christmas, we actually saw a 61% increase in terms of traffic.
Americans love their turkey and stuffing.
Love their turkey and stuffing. Also, next year, don't go on Thanksgiving Eve. Go before. Otherwise, you'll hit major traffic. All right. This one is a weekly insight. Hashtag #FryYay, as we like to say here in the office. But based on a sample of countries where Waze is popular, i.e. the US, UK, Canada, Brazil, and France, Friday was the most popular dive. And we have a lot of data that we were looking at. So if you actually look at Waze communities, the largest Waze communities around the world, people use the app at least 6 hours on average per month. In the United States alone, we use Waze an average of 10 hours per month spent in the app. So we're posting over 250 million alerts in 2017 alone.
Wow.
A lot of alerts, a lot of time spent in the app. All right. Daily insights. Let's look at the navigations that occur on a day in, day out basis. Not too much surprise here. You see the peaks are around rush hour. But for me, what was interesting to note on this slide was that actually the most increase we saw in traffic was during the evening rush. So after your long day in the office, when you just want to get home, everyone has the same thought. That's when you're going to run into the most navigation, most traffic, most brutal time of day. All right. Now I'm going to pass it along to Justin, who's going to tell us a little bit more about how we can help drive success for you this year.
Thanks, Rob. So when we talk about driving success on Waze, we're going to talk about a few things. The first is kind of how we position Waze in the marketplace, and then kind of our ad solution platform so you can see what you can offer your clients. And then finally, some insights into the few verticals that we have that are kind of our main verticals, which is QSR and then shopping and retail. So when you look at Waze, like how do we position Waze in the marketplace? Here at Google, we're good at a lot of things. And in the micro-moment world, we're really good at capturing people at point A, which is the research phase, whether that's in their home, in a coffee shop, at work, on a bus. Whenever they're researching, Google is there. Google's also really great at capturing people at point B, which is the place of sale. We're getting really well at product reviews, price comparisons, and sending those things to users while they're in the store. The one place that we haven't been able to capture is when they're driving from point A to point B. And that's where Waze comes into play. Waze is actually the first digital play to actually attract drivers. Before Waze, you could get them on the out of home with billboards or on the radio. But now we're bringing the out of home into the maps and into your mobile phone, which is where we get billboards with the digital backbone. So when you think about Waze, we're not really attacking search. We're not really attacking social. What we're doing is we're blending out of home and billboards with the mobile digital landscape. And that's where we find ourselves, and that's where we fit into the actual marketing landscape. So how do we do that? What can you guys actually offer your clients in terms of ads on Waze? Well, we have 3 solutions. The first one is pins, the second one is takeovers, and the third is search. Think of pins as your store signs, takeovers as the billboards across the top, and then search is where you're going to capture those people at their moment of highest intent where they're actually searching for your locations. And I'm going to go into these individually to give you guys a little more context. So the branded pin. The branded pin has 2 real intent plays. The first one is brand awareness. So you're getting your brand on the map. You're getting it in the map so people know what your brand looks like. But more importantly, or equally as important, is location awareness. People know where your brand is. And we find that to be very valuable on Waze. So if someone's driving from home to work every single day and they pass by your store every day, but they don't recognize your store, if your brand is on the map, they'll get used to seeing your brand not only on the map, but on their commute. So they know on their drive home, say you're a pizza store, they know that there's going to be a pizza shop on the way home if they want to stop for a quick slice of pizza or to bring a pie home to the family. For the branded pins, we offer this at $1 per 1,000 impressions. So it's a relatively cheap, viable option for those clients that just want to be on the map and get their brand out there and get their locations out there on the map. The second option is a zero-speed takeover. This is our digital billboard across the top. So the zero-speed takeover is interesting because this is when you're going to reach people at their moment of highest attention. And that's because the takeover only shows when the cars come to a complete stop for more than 3 seconds. We do this for 2 reasons at Waze. The first one is driver safety. We're not trying to have people read our ads while they're driving. So we don't really give the billboard until they come to a complete stop. The second is when a car comes to a complete stop for 3 seconds or more, the first thing a driver usually does is look at their phone. When they look at their phone, we give them a native, useful ad that's relevant to them on their drive. So these takeover ads are only going to show up when the actual location is within a certain radius of the route that you're driving. Because you're getting the driver at their highest attention, we offer this at a premium of $20 per 1,000 impressions. So how does the takeover work? It works a little differently than the branded pin in the sense that the pin shows up when it's literally in map view. So when you're driving by the actual location on the map. The takeover ad serves a little differently. So here you can see examples. Say you're driving from home to work, and the actual location we're talking about is Retro Fitness gyms. So Retro Fitness, say, has a radius that they defined of 5 miles. And they said, I want any route within 5 miles of my gym to show up on the map for takeovers. With that being said, anytime someone leaves from the house to the gym and they come to a stop, that takeover ad is able to show. So what we can do for that is it allows the actual location to spread their reach further into their community rather than just people who are driving right by their store.
So it looks like we got a question from the audience. So the first question is, why is there such a jump from the self-service PIN and the mid-tier entry point of $3K per month? Are there plans to change that? It's a very good question, Neil. Typically, the way that we look is we want to match solutions with goals. And so when you're on the self-service PIN, which is i.e. like a minimum of $2 per day or that $60 per month, typically you're going to be looking at 1 to 10 locations. So you're going to be targeting a smaller number of Waze users nearby. And so that self-serve platform is really the best fit for that type of advertiser, for that type of goal. When you're jumping to the mid-tier goal, that's typically for like large regional chains where they have multiple stores, anywhere from 1 to 50 locations. And when you are supporting 1 to 50 locations with advertising, you want to make sure that the budget is matching the available inventory, or you're serving ads to enough people around each location to drive measurable results. So looking again at that impression share and frequency, we want to make sure that we capture enough of that. And so that's really why there's a difference between the self-serve at that $60 per month and the mid-tier, which is, again, Waze Local Plus at $3,000 per month.
And Neil, if you keep watching, we're going to show you also as a Waze partner some of the different minimums that we offer to help agencies work with their clients. So as we continue forward, what does the user flow look like for a takeover? And you can see here on the left, this is what a standard user flow looks like if you were going to see a takeover ad on your phone. On the left, you see the ad. It says Retro Fitness Walk-In Special. If you click on the ad or click on the Drive There button, it takes you to a pre-navigation screen. What this screen does is 2 things. One, for the user, it allows them to look at, where it is, is it open, and allows them to decide if they want to drive there or not. For us as the for us as the agencies, this gives us another second level of comfort knowing that they actually have intent for driving to the location. So they have to click go to then navigate to the location. If they accidentally click drive there at the beginning, they could click later and then go back to their original navigation to where they were going. So because of this, when you see the intent, we see that as a navigation to the store from here contributes to and attributes to a navigation to the actual location.
We got another question, this time on the takeover. So I think it's helpful to kind of jump in here while we got that question. Thank you, Nama, for submitting the question. What kinds of call to actions are available in SMB or Waze Local? We have a number of different advertising call to actions that we support. In this example, you'll see Drive There. We also offer Save for Later, app download, save offer. All of these are available to be advertised as a call to action. And again, we try and match the specific call to action with the advertiser's goal. So if it's driving in-store traffic, we're typically going to use Drive There. If it's like an offer or coupon that you want to get out to your users, that's going to be most likely a save for later or save offer.
Yep. We have another question that's asking why CPMs and not CTRs or CPCs or pay for action. And the reason for that is pretty simple in the sense that we don't want to make money off of trying to entice our users to play with their phones while they're driving. The CPM ensures that, okay, they're looking at it just like they're looking at a billboard. For the takeovers, yes, they're at a stop and they can click on it, but to keep things symmetrical across the board, it's impression-based for that reason in terms of not trying to distract drivers when they're on the road. All right, as we push forward here into promoted search. So promoted search on Waze works differently than search on Google in the sense that we don't offer keyword optimization or bidding for key terms. And the reason for that is pretty simple. There's only so many things you're going to put into a search app for a navigation play. So if you're trying to go to a car dealership, for instance, you are not going to search a lot of things other than maybe the actual name of the dealership, maybe oil change, maybe new car dealership near me. There's a finite amount of categorical key terms. So what we do at Waze is when you sign up to advertise on Waze, we put you into one of those categories. So if any of those key terms pop up in the search bar, you're eligible to pop up as the ad, the branded promoted search at the top. The way promoted search works in terms of offered with branded pins is if you're paying for pins, you're automatically eligible for promoted search. And it kind of correlates hand in hand in the sense that the more you pay on pins, the more opportunity you have to show up at the top of the search bar. So for instance, if Portillo's of Crestwood is here, if I'm driving to work every day, home every day, and I see Portillo's, maybe I'll stop, maybe I won't, but I see it. And what it reminds me of is at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday night, the last thing I want to do is stop on my way home. I just want to get home and get there and get out of traffic as soon as possible. But I will remember that Portillo's is there. So on Saturday when I'm hungry, I search Portillo's on the search bar, and that's where the branded promoted search pops up. I click on it and I navigate there. So that's how branded pins and promoted search go hand in hand when it comes to advertising on Waze. Looks like we have another question here. For the takeover, are you able to track when a user has actually been to the location? So for this one, this is an interesting question that we get a lot. And what we saw was when we first tried to track arrivals to locations, a few things happen. With Waze, what happens is when people get close or drivers get close to a location, sometimes they turn off their phone because they're getting close and they know where they're going to be and they want to conserve battery. Or other times, if they're in a location where you can't actually park right next to the store, they'll park at a parking lot down the street, or they'll try to find street parking. So it's hard to navigate hard to measure exact arrivals to the location. So what we believe is when they click drive there, and then there's that second navigation segue where they have to click navigate again, and then they start driving to the store, that constitutes enough intent for a navigation to occur. So to answer your question in short, we don't measure arrivals, but we measure navigations as a sign of intent.
Good question, though.
Great question.
Yeah. Keep them coming.
So one of the other questions is what kind of metrics can we track on Waze? Perfect segue into this slide here. So this is kind of what you can see in the dashboard for our reporting. And a lot of this is pretty standard, impressions, clicks. What I really want to point out is navigations versus historical navigations. So what some advertisers always ask us is, well, how do I know that, if I'm getting 100 navigations a month, that it's just not one guy that clicks on my thing and drives there every single day if he loves, my hot dogs? Great question. What ends up happening is what we see is when someone navigates there for the first time, that is considered a navigation or a unique navigation. That actual brand goes into their history bar. So when they actually search that again, it'll show up on their history and they click it, it counts as a history navigation. So you can see how many people are driving there for the first time versus how many people are driving there again and again throughout the month.
For that guy who loves hot dogs.
Hey, there's always one guy that loves hot dogs. We have another question here. Can you schedule promoted pins to run at certain times, i.e. when the biz is open? The answer is absolutely. You can schedule it any time of day, whether it's opening hours or if you want to do certain promotions at night versus in the morning, we can do that as well. And we can get into that a little bit later on in the day. So talking about strategies by vertical, and we're going to just talk about two verticals, food and retail, because we have some cool insights for you guys to show. The first one is fast food, a breakdown of fast food. So this may be relevant to most of you or none of you, but I guarantee you everyone's thought about this throughout the last year. So the yellow line is showing chicken fast food chains, where the red line is showing beef burger fast food chains. And what you can see here is obviously in the morning hours, they're kind of even between 7 and 9. Most people are probably eating egg sandwiches, so there's not much going on with the beef and chicken. But then there's two big spikes. One is at noon, which is the lunch rush, and one is at 5:30, which is the dinner rush. No surprise that both of those are chicken is winning out in terms of navigations to the stores. Everyone in the middle of the day, they're kind of feeling healthy. They get home at the end of the day, they're tired of a long days of work. They're like, okay, if I got to go to a chicken joint or a burger joint, I might as well go chicken, so I feel a little better about myself. What is interesting is as the day goes on, people get more tired, they get a little more lax, and you can see around 9, 10 o'clock, navigations actually switch, and there's a 58% increase to burger joints versus chicken joints.
We've all been there.
I'm not going to say we've all been there, at least me and Rob.
Exactly.
Which leads to going back to the gym, like as we talked about in January.
Cyclical cycle.
So what kind of strategies can we actually implement for quick service restaurants and casual dining? Well, there's 4 we want to talk about today. First one is the always on digital sign. So what does this actually mean? This is the branded pin. And when we say always on, we mean you want to make sure that you have enough impression share so you're always on the map. So when people are driving by, they want to be able to see your store as much as possible so that your brand is out in front and your locations are out in front digitally. The second strategy is the large campaign push. So we could utilize a zero-speed takeover for the campaign push in the sense that this is when you're trying to push a limited time offer or promotion to your customers. You want to create awareness when people come to a stop. It could say, hey, free appetizer with a meal. It could say, free coffee, whatever it may be. But you want to capture those impulse buyers who are driving nearby or somebody that's going to maybe drive there later on in the week if they see that there's a free offer. The geo plays are a little more interesting. So if you're franchising and you're trying to have new locations in different areas, we could target just those locations. So that way they're getting most of the impression share so people understand that, hey, there's new locations in our neighborhoods. We could also look at geos by actual regions of the U.S. So if you want to just do the Northeast, or if you just want to do metro areas versus rural areas, we could do all of these things for you on Waze, and we could discuss why certain ones are better than the others. Finally is competitor plays. This is kind of interesting because we could always tie our takeover campaigns to locations of your competitors. So if you're a McDonald's and someone's driving to a Burger King, we could push our ads to the people driving to a Burger King at any time. So say you're a chicken play and someone's going to a steakhouse or a burger joint. Maybe you throw in that chicken play in there so people feel bad about themselves. They say, hey, you know what? I should probably get a chicken sandwich today. So what does that look like on Waze? So here's an example of what a strong limited time offer and how it's going to work for customers in store. There's the pin on the left, which people will see when they're driving by. They can also click on the pin and see the billboard, or they can just get the takeover ad when they come to a complete stop. So for Miss Shirley's Cafe, they were offering free coffee, but you had to dine in and you mentioned the ad to the server for redemption. So if you went in there and said, hey, saw an ad on Waze, I want to eat breakfast, the server says, of course, have a free coffee on us. Thanks for coming to Miss Shirley's. But say somebody sees that and they're in a rush on the way to work in the morning and they can't stop at Miss Shirley's that day. But they say, you know what? On Friday, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to have a nice breakfast at Miss Shirley's for a free coffee. They go to the search bar, they search Miss Shirley's on Friday, and you can see Miss Shirley's pop up in the search results. And that's how the free coffee can entice people to come to the store, not only right at the point of sale, but also later on in the week or the month. The second one I want to talk about is retail. So retail therapy, no surprise here, most of the shopping gets bumped up on Fridays and Saturdays than during the week. Everybody's had a long week. Maybe you get your paycheck at the end of 2 weeks. You want to go blow a little money on some shoes, whatever it may be. Obviously, retail therapy for Fridays and Saturdays. So what does that strategy look like? Well, the always on digital sign is always going to be our top strategy because you always want to be present to any drivers that are driving in your area. And you want to make sure that they know your location is in their local area. When it comes to the large campaign push, you can coordinate large campaigns for different areas and to hit different customers in different frequencies. So going back to the question of can we schedule, during certain hours, maybe you want to do a weekend campaign push for a certain limited time offer on the weekends. Maybe you want to offer something during the week for a weekend buyout. For instance, like President's Day, you maybe want to offer it 2 weeks in advance to get that campaign pushed to get people in your stores during the President's Day sales. Zip code targeting is a little more interesting. So your best performing zip codes, we could gear all our ads towards those zip codes so that people can go to those stores and get those offers and help keep your brand top of mind in your best performing areas. And then finally, the geo launch is the same as it was before. Specific cities or stores, or maybe some stores have more supply than others and you need to get some stuff out the door. You offer geolocated promotions for just those stores. So how's that going to look? Well, here's Ortho Mattress, and a very simple message. President's Day sale up to 50% off. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was driving home on a Friday, I'm probably not going to leave my commute to go buy a mattress. As much as I need sleep on the weekends, it's not going to happen immediately. But if I see this ad 2 or 3 times 2 weeks prior to President's Day sale, and I go home and I got nothing to do and I'm looking up sales online because there's on Google, I'm searching, hey, what kind of sales do we have? And I remember, oh, Ortho Mattress had 50% off mattresses. I kind of wanted a new mattress. Why don't we drive over there? You search Ortho Mattress on Waze, and boom, someone's navigating to your store. So how can we help you set up a campaign? Oh, we got another question here?
Got another question. Is the data in the dashboard real time?
The answer is yes, it is in real time. So you'll be able to see, and we're going to go over the dashboard in a second, be able to see all metrics performing real time throughout the month. So when we talk about setting up campaigns on Waze, we look at it in kind of 3-step approach: goals, input, and the actual campaign itself. So when we look at goals, this is what you guys as agencies need to ask your customers what they actually want to accomplish in the upcoming quarter or year. Do they want just in-store visits, navigations to the store? Maybe they want an offer download. So maybe it's more about getting people to their website. Maybe it's just brand and location awareness, and they just want as many impressions as possible, in which case a branded pin play is the way to go. Or maybe it's some sort of mold of the 3, and it's just new customer growth overall. When you figure out those goals, we'll then work with you, and we'll input our strategies on Waze to make the best overall scenario for the client. So what does that mean? We'll look at all the different locations, and we'll look at how much inventory is around those locations. So how many Wazers are actually available? Obviously, there's going to be more Wazers in Los Angeles than there's going to be in Kansas. So what is a realistic goal and solution for your clients in those areas? And from there, and from the strategy, we can determine what type of budget is probably relevant for that client. Once that happens, we could hash out the strategies, agree on a rollout plan, build up our campaigns, and then throughout the month, we can track successes, rehash anything that you guys want to change, and then do a review at the end of the month to make sure we're hitting your client's goals.
Perfect.
All right. And I'll turn it back over to Rob to talk about working with the Waze team.
Thank you, Justin. All that talk about chicken and burgers. I know what I'm doing tonight. Anyway, getting back to the ad solutions for your clients. So we offer 3 different levels. I talked a little bit about this earlier on, but the first program that we offer is called Waze Local Starter. This is going to be.
We actually have another question.
Oh, we have another question. Do you have studies showing users mention of offers, i.e., cafe example versus navigation, detailing a typical coupon redemption rate? So we definitely have benchmarks that we're willing to provide. They are different depending on what vertical specifically. So you can definitely email us for specific benchmarks, specific vertical questions after the Waze Live, and we'll be more than happy to respond. But yes, we do. Getting back into the different programs. So Waze Local Starter, again, as I mentioned earlier, is going to really be for the mom and pop shops. It's going to be for the 1 to 10 locations where you really just want to make sure that you're on the map, that you're findable as users are driving by. It's a really easy platform to sign up. You go online, you sign up, you basically put in your logo and you set up the campaign, and then you're able to serve ads on our platform. That investment starts as little as $2 a day. The Waze Local Plus is going to be that second segment where we're catering really to the regional chains, the larger brands, sometimes national brands, where you really have 1 to 50 locations. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about our service on the next slide. And then finally, our third program that we offer is going to be called Waze for Brands. That's really for our national brands, our national advertisers. Those are going to be the people that have hundreds of chains, hundreds of stores across the country, sometimes thousands, and are working with our top tier advertisers. Fun little study. We actually ran a study on 1,400 US advertisers, and we looked to see when they were on the map organically, when their location was on the map organically, what happened when they started advertising with Waze Local. And what we found was we actually found there was a 20% spike in their navigations on a month-by-month basis. So truly, if your goal is to drive in-store traffic and you're an SMB, or small to medium business, you should absolutely be on the map, because we typically see an average of 20% spike in navigations.
And this is just a study showing branded pins. So this is just having your brand on the map versus having just organic search on the map.
Exactly. Waze Local Plus. So again, this is going to be our mid-tier for typically people who have regional chains, 1 to 50 locations. And again, discussing earlier, we try and match the impressions and the spend to the amount of inventory that's available around your different locations. Under this level, as Justin mentioned earlier, we typically set up a strategic consultation where we talk through your goals, we talk through what other advertising platforms you're using, and we come up together with a campaign proposal that's going to be successful in helping you reach your goals. One of the benefits for working with Waze Local Plus is you can start or stop your campaign at any point. So there's no IOs, there's no insertion orders that tie into a specific contract. Additionally, you have a full team. Me and Justin are here to support you. We're here to help you, and we'll actually build out your account for you. So we'll set up the dashboard, we'll walk you through it, we'll show you how to use it. And typically, this level of service is going to be geared towards that 1 to 50 regional chain where they're spending an average of 10 to 20K on the campaign per month. Additionally, we offer both credit card and invoicing, and we have all of the ad formats on this specific program. Even some of the more custom creatives, which, as you can see on the right, is our new custom banner ad. And here it's really simple. You give us the logo and then you submit a banner and we stitch them together and they look great. Doesn't that look great, Justin?
Looks great.
Perfect. Here's another study on the impact of advertising with Waze Local Plus. So again, Justin mentioned pins are just getting the pins on the map. Here we looked at actually when you put a takeover on the map compared to a branded pin. In the US, takeover ads are actually seen 3.1 times more than a standard pin. And so when really talking through the full funnel of solutions, making sure you have top level awareness, you're pushing out specific offers, limited time promotions, and then capturing them in search, the zero speed takeover is going to be an integral part of any campaign, any large campaign.
And I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely pull over to get some Girl Scout cookies.
Oh yeah, Girl Scout cookies are the best. I think they're selling them this time of year, right?
Yeah, they are.
Love Girl Scout cookies. Finally, agency benefits. What's in it for you? So the first and most important thing when working with an agency is we're actually able to manage multiple client campaigns from one login. So you get one login and you're able to toggle back and forth between your different clients, just like you do on AdWords. It's really easy, simple process. 2, we actually offer assistance in creating complex campaigns. Often, you as agencies are going to be working with a lot of clients that have a lot of locations, that have multiple campaigns, and it's going to be a little complicated. So we're here to help ensure that we can do that bulk account uploads, and that we can help you manage your complex campaigns. Finally, as an agency, you have access to lower minimums. So we discussed earlier that 3K minimum for being on the Waze Local Plus. That's for an individual client. When you're an agency and you have multiple clients advertising on Waze, we're actually able to offer lower tiers of minimums for your clients. Finally, we had a question earlier to talk about the dashboard. Here's actually a look at what the live dashboard looks like. Yes, it is live, so everything that you're seeing in there is happening as it occurs. Up top, what you're going to see is the account management tabs. This is where you toggle between the campaigns, the different offers, the locations. You can see everything up here up top. The second part is actually our dashboard overview, or performance overview. This is where you're going to see a live look at how many impressions, how many navigations, how many clicks you've gotten on the campaign. The next part, the middle section, is the date range and ad unit. So you can actually toggle and set specific date ranges that you want to look back at. You can look at the present, past 30 days, very similar to an AdWords experience. And again, there, the ad units, you're going to be able to toggle between pins, takeovers, searches, etc., and see how the different ad units are performing. And then finally, at the bottom, you have it by campaign level. And so you can see all of the measurement units by campaign. All right, let's work together. How long does it take to start? That's a question that we get often. From the time that we actually have that initial strategic conversation discussing your campaign, your accounts, your clients, we can get it up as quickly as a week. As long as we have the creative, as long as we decide on a campaign proposal going forward, we can get everything up and running in as little time as a week. Who do I reach out to? Well, West Coast is going to be me, rburnto@waze.com. Taylor, who, as Justin mentioned, is unfortunately not here today, is going to be covering the East Coast as well as Canada. And Justin.
And then I'll be covering channel partnerships as well. So if you are a Google partner, you'll know what channel partnerships are. If you're not, it's more of the long tail where you have a high volume of clients. And you could come and talk to me about that as well. And we could discuss the different types of plans that we have for channel partnerships. We actually have another question here. Is there a Waze team giving support to Mexico? Marco, there is a Waze team in Mexico, just happened very recently. So if you want to reach out to me at jnabazna@waze.com, I could forward you over to our Waze representative there and get you set up.
Perfect. So what do you need to start advertising? Send us your goals, a list of your store locations so we can look and see how much inventory is available, how many drivers are driving around. The creative, we can talk strategy, and then we'll be good to go. We'll get you up and running quickly. Also, thank you very much for staying with us. This is like an active crowd. We have an active crowd. We have people that have stayed the entire time. We're going to stay on for a few minutes to take questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. And then again, we'll send a follow-up email with a survey. Please take it. Rate Justin and Rob the highest that you've ever rated anyone. We'll be more than grateful, unless you didn't like us, and then clearly rate the way that you feel. And then we'll look forward to taking your questions.
If you have no questions and you're leaving, thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your week.
Yeah. I think I need to go get some chicken. I'm talking about chicken. It's lunchtime here. I feel like we got to get some elevator music in the mix as we kind of wait for questions.
We should have you put on a singing performance next time.
Yeah, as Justin mentioned, I play a little guitar from time to time. Been known to get up on stage and sing, especially at Waze conferences.
If we get enough signups on Waze, maybe we can entice Rob to do it on the next webinar.
Yeah, if we get over 1,000 signups, I know
Yeah.
Julian, our marketing expert, will be more than happy to let me perform live on one of our Waze Live seminars. All right. Well, I guess it's time for us to go. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Can we have the presentation mailed to us? One last question.
Oh, one last question. Yes, we can absolutely send the presentation out. We'll send it out after we say goodbye.
And thanks for giving one last question so we didn't just sit here and feel stupid.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again.